So you're well over a decade into your RuneScape journey, and you're starting to come to a devastating realization. This game, OSRS, is full of nerds. Not you though, obviously, just everyone else who plays this game. The unfortunate fact is you are going to be spending a lot of time with these nerds, so it is your responsibility to make sure that they know you aren't one of them. At some point in this game, you will inevitably have a disagreement with someone, and that's when you need to make them painfully aware of the fact that you can beat them up in real life. Let's talk about general strategies. You will most likely have to pull the tough guy card when your masculinity is at stake, for instance when someone calls you bad at the game, or even if you simply just notice that someone else is better than you and it makes you feel inferior. When you find yourself in this predicament, this is where you're gonna instantly jump in with some aggressive and unsolicited self-help advice. Let's say in a hypothetical scenario, someone in public chat around you is talking about content that you can't do because you're too bad. This is where you insert yourself into the conversation, tell them to go hit the gym or train a martial art, and then start rattling off some of your accomplishments. Now, this is a guide on how to be an internet tough guy, so the great thing about this is that you can just make these up. They don't have to be true at all, and if you do have some accomplishments in real life that you're proud of, then just exaggerate them as much as humanly possible. This is the internet, and your 185 bench just became 405 for 12 reps, and those 3 jiu-jitsu classes that you attended just became a moderately successful career in some unnamed fight promotion. In fact, you would have been the heavyweight champ of the UFC, but you couldn't because of some made-up injury. Don't get hung up on this part, just power past it. At this point, everyone in chat is probably terrified, so it's likely they'll just accept defeat and log out. But in some rare cases, they may pull out some big words that don't really mean anything. Maybe they'll call you a hypocrite or ask you to provide proof for any of your claims. What does this stuff even mean? I don't know because I'm not a fucking nerd. But what you should know is this. These people wasting their life on this game, they're losers. But when you play RuneScape, it's different. You're just bored killing time. So you might wonder, when exactly should I assert my dominance in chat? Is this just like an everyday thing? Well, you can do this at any time, but if you were looking for the most high-level EHP strategy to act tough in OSRS, you should actually start doing your tough guy routine when there is a big UFC or boxing event going on in real life. There's a good chance some people in chat will be talking about this event, and this is the perfect opportunity to hijack the conversation and make it about yourself. And what you should say in this case is that you would knock out both of the fighters easily in a 2v1 scenario. You will, without a doubt, get pushback, and this will give you free reign to hand out some much needed reality checks to these nerds and losers. You have a few phrases that should silence any given hater instantly. First off, you're gonna call anyone doubting you a soy boy and tell them that they wouldn't say that to you IRL, you know, on account of you being a tough guy. You are then going to go on a long rant about a bunch of times that you beat people up in real life and how you also barely play this game. You should really just rant on and on about this for 10 to 20 minutes, so at the very least, if they aren't intimidated, they'll just lose interest and stop calling you out. If anyone questions the legitimacy of all these made-up stories, tell them to pull up. And then give them an extremely generic location, such as the continent that you live on. Less than 10 seconds after this, tell them that they're scared, and then say you're putting them on ignore, but don't actually do it. This accomplishes 2 things, one being that you get the moral high ground of saying that you put someone on ignore because they aren't worth your time, and 2 being that 20 minutes later, if they say something that pisses you off, you can continue to argue with them and no one will remember that you claimed to put them on ignore. If someone is really getting under your skin, well, that's no problem. Just tell them to mic up and get in a Discord voice channel. Keep in mind that when you do this, you should invite him into a channel with 10 of your other internet tough guy friends, and then the second he jumps in, just start cussing him out, drop every single offensive term that you can think of, talk over him 100% of the time, Do not let this person get one single word in without being interrupted. He should not be able to make it through a sentence. If the guy doesn't leave within 10 seconds, then just ban him from the server. This is only a power play. You are not here to have a conversation with this person. You are just here to show him who is in charge, you know, of the Discord voice channel. This is all really good stuff, but there isn't always going to be a good opportunity to assert yourself as a real-life alpha male who just happens to be playing old school RuneScape. Sometimes people in chat are just chilling, discussing the actual game itself. So how do you start acting tough in a completely non-hostile conversation about RuneScape? Well, the idea here is that because these guys are talking about RuneScape, you know, the game that you're both currently playing, they must be tryhard nerds. At the end of the day, even if they didn't say anything to you in the first place, you should feel threatened that there are people walking around RuneScape that don't know that you could beat them up. What if they start thinking that they could beat you up because you failed to put them in check before it was too late? You can't let that happen. So when you need to pull an alpha maneuver out of absolutely nowhere, you're just gonna go ahead and announce your height and weight in chat. And of course your height and weight is 6'5", 280 of solid muscle. Just find some absolutely ridiculous way to shoehorn it into the conversation so you can keep up with the illusion that you aren't picking a fight for no reason. They always say that real tough guys don't start fights, they finish them. But internet tough guys are on another level. They do start the fight, finish it, and then they start another one. And when I say fight, I mean an online argument in RuneScape chat. Same idea. Here's the most important part. Internet tough guys, e-thugs, whatever you want to call them, have been around for years, decades even. Everyone knows what they are, and they won't hesitate to call you out for being one. That is exactly why you need to beat them to the punch and call them internet tough guys early on in your routine of acting tough on the internet. Remember that you are the real deal. This is something that you need to convince yourself of, and the fact that you had to make up a bunch of lies to prove this is irrelevant. It's basically a sales tactic. There is so much bullshit posted all over the internet. You are not going to stand out in a sea of text by telling the truth. Now you might be wondering, what does this actually have to do with OSRS? And my answer is, not a whole lot. Look, if you want to experience any game to the fullest, the first step is making sure everyone knows that you'd be able to beat them up in real life. So thanks for watching.